Court calls the matter of Cutshaw versus Cutshaw, case number 2014-7097 DM. All parties and attorneys, please state their name and appearance to the record, starting with plaintiff's attorney, Ms. Paisno.
Thank you. Good morning, Your Honor. Leslie Paisno here with the plaintiff, Sheriff Cutshaw, who is also present via Zoom.
And I am attorney Melissa Halleck, attorney for Richard Cutshaw, the defendant, who's also present here by Zoom.
Good morning, everyone. Today's date and time set for a review hearing. Our status conference. This matter is done by remote technology due to decisions of the Supreme Court and Chief Judge. Contents of this video may be the official record of a proceeding of the state of Michigan's 9th Judicial Circuit. Unauthorized duplication, distribution, or alteration of said content is strictly prohibited. Both parties are here represented by their attorneys. I guess I'll just ask the questions right up front. Has the letter to the children, either one or one to each child, been exchanged?
Yes, Your Honor, the letters have been sent to the minor children, and there has been several, I'll say maybe, and my client can correct me, I think up to 3 to 4 Zoom visits with the children since we were in court last.
Okay, Ms. Halleck. Okay, Ms. Halleck, is that your understanding?
Yes, Your Honor. I believe it was 4 Zoom visits.
Okay. Now, if the Zoom visits go well, then the next thing we would look at is supervised visits with Family and Children's Services. Ms. Paisno, your client's position with regards to that, and then I'll ask Ms. Halleck her client's position.
And my client's aware of the court's position on this. Her statements from previous court hearings would, I would just reaffirm those. However, it's in the court's discretion as to what they want to do at this point, as long as it's at supervised visits at Family and Children's Services.
Ms. Halleck, your position.
Well, Your Honor, I think a period of supervised visitation seems appropriate. However, my office has attempted to contact Family and Children's Services on 3 separate occasions, left voicemails, and never receiving a call back. My understanding from in the past, another case that I have is, and another attorney up in Kalamazoo, is that there's actually like a 2 to 3 month wait list before supervisors are even available. I would, at this point, I understand in the past my client had some dilutes that were concerning, but he took the hair follicle that I think resolves that concern. He's been compliant. He would ask to continue Zoom twice weekly and go to an every other weekend unsupervised. The visits went very well. It's difficult for him to sometimes follow up on some of the kids' activities because mom's blocked him from a lot of things. So with the Zoom visits, if she could again grant him access to perhaps like Lane plays travel ball. There are apps like Game Changer where he can just follow along on the game. That way he can talk to Lane about the game and how it went. Mom had him blocked from the group, the game email list, as well as Game Changer. He received an email notifying him of that. The same thing that I understand, we're not here to address mom show cause for not complying, but again, this does impact his parenting time and demonstrates a lack of, I think, support of this relationship. She was also, what we addressed previously was that he had blocked father from accessing the children's school information just on you log in online and you can look at the kids and how they're doing in school. And, he understands that this is his fault, why it's moving so slow. And he knows that he's hurt his kids. And he's just, it's now been since the end of 2020, almost 8 months now, actually, that he's been in counseling. He's been drug screening. He did the hair follicle. His biggest mistake was being stubborn and not complying with the court's orders like he should have. But the hair follicle shows he was clean. These children deserve to have visits. So we would just ask that the court take into consideration that delay in time that the supervised visit would, would, I think, cause. He also, I think at this point, it seems fair that he should be able to attend the children's school activities or extracurriculars. I know he mentioned that during his discussions that Audrey is in jujitsu once weekly. We know Lane does the travel ball. And then if things haven't changed, eventually there'll be school activities. He's always been appropriate at those things. And so I don't see a reason why he couldn't attend those as well. So I guess that's what we would ask for today.
Your Honor, now can I? Sorry.
There was a lot thrown out there. Any position on some of those matters?
Yeah, I'm actually quite surprised that he has the audacity to come into this court for over a year and a half when he refused to do a hair follicle test, and now he wants things to move on his terms and on his timelines. That's not how this court has ever perceived this was going to happen. If this court remembers back when I filed the ex parte order to stop the visits at supervised visit, Mr. Cutshaw called all the time to Family and Children's Services and actually was able to get them to move much faster on this case than any other case, which was quite surprising. So the squeaky wheel got the grease at that case. My client has not blocked him from contacting the coach or contacting the game changer or contacting the school. We discussed this last time. My client is not Mr. Cutshaw's secretary, and Mr. Cutshaw has the ability to reach out to people and find this information out on him by himself. He has the statute to allows him to contact these people as well as to get the information. My client does not agree that alternate weekend parenting time from Zoom should jump out immediately. Things this court is not aware of that I was trying not to address at this point in time. However, week of June 7th, the defendant's stepchild was caught with a bag of pot and vape at school. She's a 7th grader. Just last week, the 7th grader suicide in the home and was found by the little 9-year-old and was brought to a Kalamazoo hospital and transferred to a South Bend facility. So there's a lot of things going on in Mr. Cutshaw's home that are not being addressed as well. There was past meth use by the defendant's wife's oldest child. All these issues do come into effect if this court's even going to consider parenting time outside of Family and Children's Services. The order says Family and Children's Services. There's no pending motion for this court to expand the parenting time that the defendant is requesting. So my client's not in agreement.
Any position on him attending these sports events or jujitsu or what have you?
Your Honor, until the visits underway in person happen in Family and Children's Services, I think that it would be inappropriate for him to interject on those visits to possibly disrupt the children.
There's nothing that shows he disrupted it. No
Anything
history.
else, Ms. Halleck?
Just that it's not adapted, Your Honor. It's me looking at the case and suggesting that I think supervised visits make sense. He has done what the court has asked, and he understands it's going to be a slow process. I'm not sure where she's coming up with all of this information, but I think it would be relevant because we're here addressing parenting time to move forward. And I don't think it's a huge leap to say that if we don't have supervisors available for several months, that he be allowed to go to at least the kids' school activities. I mean, if she wants, I don't know that she spoke with her client, but I'll file a show cause, I guess, as to those other issues and his access. But I just think those things are important because it does demonstrate supporting a parent-child relationship. The things that she is alleging happened in the home, if Miss Paisano, or if she just emailed me on those things ahead of time, or if I had any information on that, I can talk to my client about it. We can work around those things. So I think they knew that we were going to. I had already proposed to Miss Paisano if we could move towards unsupervised just the other day because of the lack of supervisors. She never brought any of this up to my attention so I could address it. And I just don't think there's certain things that the council that she and I can address together outside of court, or the parties can address without having to waste the court's time on those. And I think advising our clients to be compliant and she doing what she can do to make sure that dad does have access to information, not making changes, but just does have access to, Game Changer to follow on those things is important. It shows a support of the relationship. And I get he's messed up. I'd be angry too, but it's not about that. As we all know, it's about the kids, and they still love their dad, whether he's a screw up or not. So we would ask that, if at least, I guess, if you're going to order the supervised time, if we can have somebody else, that if they can agree on to supervise other than Family and Children's Services, or even his wife, there's nothing that shows. The risk that we're trying to address here is his meth use and how that impacts the kids. But he's been clean for months and months and doing a lot, which he has to do. He gets it. It's not, I don't know. I think what we're asking for is appropriate, and is in the children's best interest. But I think, Your Honor, from just the last two hearings I've had in front of you, I think your decision, you have made very sound, good decisions, and you're the judge. And so we'll place it in your hands and trust that, it's going to move forward well.
Okay. Well, I agree that this was a meth issue for the most part of this case, and that seems, as of now, checking at the latest screens, to have been cleared up, and I think Mr. Cutshaw should be commended for that. But as Ms. Halleck has stated, the stubbornness of Mr. Cutshaw is what has led to such a long time between parenting time, and I can't put that genie back in the bottle. And the ones who suffer because of dad's stubbornness are the children. So that's heartbreaking. We have to move forward, but it's not on my timeline. It's not on either party's timeline. It's on what's best for the children. And at this point, I'm going to do a referral for supervised parenting time to Family and Children's Services, and we'll get that going as quickly as possible. I'll have my staff call. They may get different times frames than attorneys that call. I don't know, but we will work on that. I don't know, there's been no evidence, so this isn't an evidentiary hearing, but mom has an obligation to let dad know of any activities that the kids are in the first time. If one of the kids gets drafted to a travel team and mom knows it's Coach Smith and here's the number, she needs to get that to dad. But it's not on mom to update every single game and I agree with Ms. Paisno. She's not his secretary. She has an obligation to get that first one, or he's taking jujitsu. And the first time that information needs to be shared. But after that, it's on dad. Mom, I don't think has any legal right to block anything at school. So I'd love to hear from the school if that's being the case, but the school understands orders, even if it's so legal. The other side has a right to know the activities going on with the children, their grades, etc. So, mom, your obligation is the first time an activity happens. Same thing if we ever get to where dad has it and dad's doing something on his time. Mom has a right to know. But after that, they have to get in contact with coaches or scout leaders or school officials. But at this point, I think it's moving along well. I'm glad there were no complaints about the 2 times a week Zoom. I will continue that. I think that's good for the kids and the dad. We will go forward with a referral to Family and Children's Services and get those going as soon as possible. Drug screens will continue. Dad is allowed to contact the entities he is aware of. And then we can go forward and hopefully get to in-person visits with Family and Children's Services. But at this point, based on the long delay, I'm glad Zoom's going well, but I still want to ease the children into, could be supervised by a third party down the road, but to go to unsupervised parenting time, the court is not ready for that yet. There may be an evidentiary hearing with that. Now, Ms. Paisno has her obligation to defend her client's stance. So I don't know what's going on with other kids and marijuana or what have you. But if it comes to a hearing, those things, what's going on in each of their homes will be relevant. I'm not taking sides. There are wonderful parents whose children do terrible things, and there are terrible parents whose children do wonderful things. We'll have to have a hearing. But at this point, we're going to get the Family and Children Services recommendation out today. We'll continue with the Zoom hearings. I'm not saying you did, Mom, do this. You're not allowed to block anything, but you're not obligated to give everything. You need to give the one-time notice to Dad, and that'll be that. And I don't know, maybe the attorneys can help me out. Today, I don't remember this case is so long. They're not using the wizard, I don't believe, are they?
No, they're not.
They're not.
Okay.
But
then they can do one time in writing, but the last thing I want is Mom to say, hey, he's playing soccer over at Portage. And then Dad's got to be like, do you have a number? Do you have a coach? We're not, Mom, if you don't want to get on my bad side, don't make it a treasure hunt. Give him, he's playing soccer, Portage, so here's the coach, here's the number. Dad, if you don't want to get on my bad side, I don't want to see 13 texts asking for more information. That's not her job. Everybody do what they have to do to give the other side the information, but we don't have to be secretaries for each other, or we don't have to harass each other or play games with each other. But no blocking, get the one-time information, continue with the Zooms, and we'll do a referral to Family and Children's Services. Anything else, Ms. Halleck?
yes, Your Honor, just to briefly, his attendance at those curricular activities, is that acceptable or no?
As to what?
The extracurricular activity, so the travel ball games, baseball games for Lane.
For dad to attend?
Yeah.
Not at this time. I want to get the supervised visits underway so that the kids aren't shocked and they're not confused. Am I allowed to talk to Dad? Am I not? Let's get a few supervised visits underway. If those go well, I don't see why that would be a problem down the road. But not today.
Okay, are we gonna set a hearing then as to when the next step will be addressed, or is that?
I'll set a review hearing in 60 days. If I hear that there have been, so we'll know when supervised visits have been set up. If after, let's say they get in within 2 weeks, I'll move it up. I don't need the attorneys. My staff will move it up and get us in to see how those visits are going.
Okay, thank you, Your Honor.
Likewise, if it's taking more time, we will adjourn it after the 60 days. But I'm hoping Family and Children's Services, with things opening up more, we'll be able to have more supervisors available.
Okay, thank you.
Ms. Paisno, anything?
I have nothing further, Your Honor.
All right, my staff will prepare that order and we will get the
I have a
order
question.
out for Family and Children's Services. Yes, Ms. Cutshaw.
I'm sorry. So once visitation starts, that will be one time a week. Will we still be doing Zoom twice a week in addition to that? Because that would be 3. It's just the kids are really busy, so I just want to make sure I understand.
The Zoom will continue because I think they're busy, but we can squeeze in a few visits for Dad. They may not go the full 30 minutes. It may be in between sporting events, but they can do that because eventually if he does get the parenting time, they're going to have to be able to coexist with a lot more parenting time for Dad. So this will be a good way for them to juggle things, or the parents to juggle things.
I think what she was trying to clarify is that 3 visits each week. If once they're in person for an hour and then 2 Zoom visits, that's what you're saying each week? I think what she would
Yes.
propose is once in person starts, that they only have 1 Zoom visit.
I'll keep the Zoom going when in-person starts, and if the in-person's going well and he's attending games and other things, we could probably stop the Zoom visits. Okay?
I have
Any other questions by anybody?
Yes, I have a question, Your Honor.
Mr. Cutshaw.
Since we're on the record, I would like to ask Attorney Paisno where she got that information, that supposedly stuff about my stepmother.
Well, That's, if there's a motion filed and that information comes out, it may
Okay.
be admissible evidence, but if not, I'm not considering it for anything with regards to this case. As I said,
Okay.
if it comes out in the court of law as evidence, we'll address it then.
Then the one other thing to address is yesterday was Father's Day, and I know that we were on Zoom meets, but I didn't receive a text message or a phone call from the kids, so I'm assuming mom didn't encourage that at all or didn't have that done. So I just wanted the court to be aware of that too, that I didn't hear anything or a text message from them on Father's Day at all.
Were you scheduled to have a Zoom meeting yesterday?
No, we were not.
Okay.
No.
Then again, that is not evidence, and if I thought Miss Cutshaw was a bad person for that, it doesn't matter. It's not court ordered. She doesn't have to do it. I can't hold it against her, or I can't hold it as a positive. I can't have her waving her flag around. Hey, I give him extra time on Father's Day. Grant me what I want. It's not ordered by court. She doesn't have to do it.
Yeah, I think what he's thinking is it's just what's in the best interest of the children to have a relationship with both parents, and that she is supportive of that. And he feels that her not sending a video or doing anything shows a lack of support, which I think is consideration, but.
There's a very fine line between supporting
Hold
relationships.
on, Miss Cutshaw, hold on. You have an attorney. Don't, I allowed the question. The answer is, it's not ordered by court. The ugly history of this case, I'm not going to hold anything that's not ordered by the court against anybody. Ms. Halleck, it's not appropriate for your client to say you need to look at her poorly now. He's done enough damage to these kids. They're not seeing him because of the stubbornness. At the end of the day, he wasted a year of these children's lives. I feel bad for him too. But at the end of the day, kids come first. He did this. So don't say she didn't let me call on one Sunday. She's the bad one here. Neither party's bad. Actions happen. Courts make decisions based on legally admissible evidence. I'll wait till I hear it in a hearing, whether or not it's proper or not. Didn't violate any court orders though. That's all the court is concerned with today. We have a long way to go for reunification. I'm glad Dad's making steps with the methamphetamine, good steps, positive steps. But at the end of the day, I'll wait till I hear testimony before I make any other decisions on anything. That'll be the order of the court. The court will prepare that. Anything else by anybody?
Nothing
No.
further, Your Honor.
Please stay on. Don't hang up. We'll go off the record and my staff will get you a date.